Today we'll learn how to paint realistic summer clouds. To do that, we will need to do two things. Create a background sky and create a cloud brush. This cloud brush will be used to create the cloud, shade them, and most importantly, realistically trim them. You will see what that means later. But first, we will start with the sky. Make an empty image with the size you want. 1920 by 1080 is fine for me. Then, to make the sky, we will use a gradient. You can use the gradient tool, but always prefer to use the node version if you can. Tools are destructive. You can change them once you apply them, while nodes are always changeable if you change your mind later. To make our sky gradient, open the gradient and double-click the default black point to change it to sky blue. By the way, the color picker pop-up is persistent, meaning that while it's open, you can switch to your browser or image viewer or any other windows, pick the colors from there, then go back to colors. Now the white is a bit too bright for me, and I will change the gradient a bit by moving the handles. Now for the brush. Select the last node and press Ctrl N to create an empty image with the same size as it. Change its blend type to screen. Now we will create the cloud brush. First thing, create a very jagged shape. You can just use an image of a cloud if you want. The general shape does not really matter that much as long as the edges are chaotic with large jagged edges. Then use that as the brush image. Set it as grayscale as we don't need the color. Set the brush blend to overlay and set the opacity to very low. This is key, as a very low build-up is what gives us the soft, fluffy, cloudy look. Add some variations to the size and rotation, and you can add scatter if you want an even more fluffier cloud, but I'll skip that. The base cloud brush is now done, so brush and create the general shape of the cloud that you want. Now, a key to this method for realistic clouds is how to trim them. The brush currently can be used to add to the clouds, but we need a way to remove the clouds too, as that will make creating the exact shape we want much easier. And because we made the image blend as screen, it becomes very simple. Just change the brush color to black. Now the brush removes the clouds instead of adding them. You will see the clouds not just go away, but go away in a realistic manner. Now you can create realistic clouds, text and shapes made out of cloud, whatever you want. Now, the last part is shading. We'll do it in a separate image, so select the last node and Ctrl N to add a new image. Set the opacity to 50. To turn the brush into shading, scale both the size and the opacity way down, and change the color to bluish gray. Now figure out where you want the sun to be, and brush the opposite side of the cloud from that. And because we picked a 50 opacity, you can now increase and decrease the shading strength to your liking. Clouds are now ready, but it looks a bit too perfect, which is not realistic, as all cameras have a bit of a grainy noise, either from the literal film grain on the older film-based cameras, or the electronic interference from the new digital ones. So as the final realism touch, let's add a bit of a camera noise. Add noise to the last node. Noise nodes take the size of the image connected to it. Pick the noise you like. I'll go with pixel noise, as it's excellent for these grainy noises. Then mix it with the original image with normal blend and a very low opacity. Looks good. Your realistic clouds are now done. A last tip is that although all three effects are done by basically the same brush, I still recommend saving them as 3 separate brushes, as it is easier to switch and you don't need to remember what needs to be changed, especially if you hadn't used it in a while. That's it for this tutorial. Hope you liked it. Don't forget to like if you did. You can download and try Karaz yourself and find more tutorials at karazjam.com. See you next time and take care.